Hey, welcome to Saturday's Warrior and to another edition of our instant reaction to the BYU game. This week, it was a loss at Texas. And now I've been doing these all season, but I've missed twice, and both times it was after a loss. And I wanted to prove that it was not because I am a poor sport, even if I may be, but because I've just coincidentally had a lot of other family and other obligations going on weeks that also happen to be losses. This week we had a church party, a Halloween party, which we had to be too early, help set up. We had to get Halloween costumes ready all day and rush off, and then we were at the party. So I missed a majority of the game. I caught a little bit early on. I saw as much of the first quarter, actually most of the first quarter, a lot of the second, and then watched the highlights for the rest of the game. But I still wanted to get my reaction in and prove that I can do these after a loss. And so my first reaction, or my first thoughts overall are really we can't be too down. We know Texas is a good team, and as we said coming into this, we're kind of playing with house money because we're expected to lose. We're expected to lose big, and so all BYU can do is go out there and really do their best and take some chances, be aggressive, and take their best shot at Texas. And best case scenario, you end up pulling off an upset and you lose. A loss is a loss, and we're not really fighting for a place in the rankings, so none of that really matters. And so we're basically where we thought we would be after tonight. So really not a big deal there. A loss is a loss. We're not happy about it. I think the frustration is we still see a lot of the same stuff. It seems really the offense really struggles to get going. We have some flashes, and there's moments where Keaton Slovis looks lights out. A lot of other times where he's got to throw it just out of reach, which has led to some really awesome catches by our receivers. But also, it's put them in tough situations where they can't get it, almost get it, and they can't. And another that led to an interception tonight. Um, One thing that stood out early to me was that Texas was loud, a loud cheer after a play. You'd get a really loud roar of applause after, a good, impressive play from Texas. But the overall environment was not really that loud overall. And so, for a huge stadium, for a really blue blood team, I at least would like to see a little bit more from the crowd and really getting into it and getting into the opponent's head. But okay, so now about the game, I already mentioned the offense was disappointing. The defense, they did really well. They did what they were supposed to. They even caused two turnovers, but BYU was not really able to capitalize off that the same way, and really gave up two more turnovers. And then there's also the special teams is where we've tended to excel, and yet we gave up a touchdown on a punt return, which is really a gut punch. That's almost like a turnover in some ways there. And you look at it, it's kind of crazy that this was the week that BYU actually won the time of possession and had more total plays. And we actually did all right. We had a fair amount of so third down efficiency was bad, but 17 first downs. Texas only had 16. Part of it is because they had such big chunk plays that they didn't need as many first downs to get the touchdown, but also because the script was flipped. They were the ones getting the turnovers and having short field, and they were the ones that were able to take advantage of that. And so we've talked in weeks past about BYU playing with or not gaining as many yards but scoring. It's because if you look at how many available yards there were for them to gain, there weren't as many because they had a shorter field. And so therefore they could only gain so many, but yet they were still scoring. And it seems like that was the case with Texas tonight, is with those shorter fields, those interceptions, but turnovers. And that just really put them in a position to have short field and score pretty quickly. I do have to say, I other than the highlights, I didn't see the third quarter, but BYU held Texas. You know, it was scoreless and even had a goal line stand there in the third quarter, which is really awesome, really impressive. You think about it, that BYU got really close. Let's say they're a little bit better and they had scored in that, you know, it had been a touchdown instead of a field goal. The first one, it could have been 10-21 at that point. You have a goal line stand, you get the ball back, and you get to go move down the field. And that puts you in a position to really close the gap and make it an interesting game. So, really, it feels like on the margins, BYU could have been a lot closer into this game. However, they weren't better. You know, they did have to settle for a field goal, and then also they weren't able to move it down the field. They end up turning it over, and that turns into another score, which just kind of, you know, was the straw that, not really straw, but, you know, broke the camel's back nonetheless. And then they, you know, really rallied in the fourth quarter. It got away entirely. Not that it really felt like BYU was ever really into it, out, you know, after that first quarter or so. But that was normal. Texas has kind of done that all season long. Teams have played them relatively close. Again, 21-6 is not that close, but it's still technically within striking distance. Not that it felt like BYU ever had the potential to put that kind of drive together against Texas. But yeah, so that was normal, and man, you know, we knew their D line was going to be good. This was not going to be the week for us to have a crazy run game get going. Let's see. I mean, we did get 95 rushing yards. Let's see. Chase Roberts was looking good. He again looks to be kind of the safety valve and or outlet, you know, and really reliable. Lassiter, man, he made that big catch. He had the other one that was so close to being a catch that they ended up reversing. But then also there was the interception where it was the pass to him that got intercepted, and he didn't end up making the tackle, but you saw him come back into the play, start trying to chase down the defender who'd intercepted, and make the tackle. And the tackle happened before he could catch up. But man, he stayed in that, and I like that hustle from him. And so that showed a lot of determination. You know, kind of shades of what we saw from Tyler Algier. Obviously, not the same outcome we would have liked, but nonetheless, I thought that was really impressive. But the defense, you got to give them credit. You know, they really hung in there. And when, you know, your offense puts you into those kinds of situations against a really good team, so I don't really fault them too much. I've been really impressed. And again, you know, watching the highlights, I'll have to watch them again and maybe I watched the 13-minute highlights. I'll have to go back and watch even longer one. But that was my first reaction is, you know, it looks like it's still a lot of the same. Slovis has a lot of moments that are really good, and a lot of times that, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't trust himself to get throws exactly where they need to be with the touch, or because our receivers just aren't open enough to get those throws as direct as he'd like them to be, and so they're always off a little bit. And you know, again, it makes for some great catches, but it also makes for some terrible plays. I.e., the interception. And so, but so I don't really know if it really does feel like the blame goes all around on different plays. It's once it's the O line, other times it's the receivers can't get open, and so um, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it really seems like BYU doesn't either. But the good news is they still have a chance. I think their schedule continues to be tough. It's going to be very tough, but they still have a chance to become bowl eligible, and we have the rest of the season to look forward to. Some good football in the Big 12, so I'm excited about that. Again, was the outcome that was expected, so really no skin off our back. Let's learn from it, regroup, and get ready to go to West Virginia. Hopefully I'll be at that game, and we'll have more on that this upcoming week. So please look for that. We're going to have our power rankings come out early next week, and then also moving schedule around because Halloween. I normally record with Adam Tuesday nights to make our picks, so we'll figure that out either early or later. But also be having a segment with Kuz from Kuz's Corner to review and preview the matchup between BYU and West Virginia for next week. So please be sure to check in for that. So like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can catch all that content. We do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. As always, go Cougs.